everybody, this is DearMamaSal. It's Monday. And it is... really? 7 degrees? 7 degrees? Positively tropical. Which would be 44 American. Which really looks strange because we've still got melting snow on the roads. But definitely tropical. Almost should be wearing my shorts, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm on my way to work, feeling good. Like so many of you, I was part of Benji and Judy's massive fundraiser yesterday. And for those of you who were there, I don't have to tell you, except I was checking the figures this morning, and the total amount raised now is close to 38,000. Because we know some people would have added more money later, and they did. We picked up at least another 500, I would say, overnight. In fact, more than that, because we closed... I twerked because we hit 37,000, right? So we're now up to close to 8. So we picked up 800 and something overnight. So absolutely astounding. For those of you who don't know Benji and Judy, which would be very few, just to let you know, they're two friends of mine, big YouTubers with huge hearts. And this year they did their annual dance-a-thon in aid of the March of Dimes, which cares about young children. And it was particularly meaningful for me because I was born 2 months premature myself and was not meant to live. So I am very much in favor of anybody who's raising money to look after premature babies and make sure they have a chance. So it was an incredible evening, in fact 24 hours. And for all of my viewers who participated, thank you so much. And you know, even if you just participated by watching and keeping the numbers up, keeping the excitement up, that was just all that was required. It was really important for us to be seen. I kept thinking that last year the average number of viewers probably was 2,500 to 3,000. That's what I seem to remember. This year we were beginning to panic a bit when the numbers dropped into 8,000. Or dropped out of 9,000 to 8,000, and then at one point they dropped to 7,000. And I remember thinking, boy, you know, this time last year we would have been ecstatic if we'd hit 7,000. And then, of course, we jumped up into the high 9s towards the end there, which was just magical. Great feeling. And so I thought today I'd talk a little bit about contribution. But before I do, yesterday, you know, I watch things quite carefully. So all the time that it was going on, I was watching the comments as much as anything, trying to get a sense of where everybody was at. And if ever you wanted an education in you'll never please all of the people any of the time, or any of the people all of the time, it had to be do a fundraiser. Because it didn't matter what they did, the haters came out. It was absolutely incredible. Let me give you some examples. Benji would be there with Chris, and then the haters would be going, why have we got Benji and Chris? Why haven't we got Juliana and Judy? And that would be fine, and then they'd spell off, and Judy would be there without Benji and Chris. They were taking a quick break, and then people would be calling for Chris and or Benji, you know what I mean? And then And then Juliana would be asleep, so everybody was calling for Juliana. And then Juliana would come down, and then they'd all say, well, she looks confused, she shouldn't be part of this. So, you know, it was it was like you can't win. And what I was so pleased to see was that Benji and Judy did far better than I would have done. They just ignored it all and just got on with the job, which was magical, really magical. They literally just got on with the job. And so to me, it was just really a study in what life is like. And which is why we always say, you know, make yourself happy. You might as well make yourself happy, because you're not going to make anybody else happy with you all of the time. Doesn't matter what you do, you're going to have haters. And so it just is ridiculous, really stupid. And I hadn't realized how evident that is on YouTube when you're in the big leagues. And quite honestly, it's enough to make me ask those of you who may be thinking of being big-time YouTubers, or even being YouTubers at any level, do you have what it takes to cope with that? Because a lot of people want the supposed fame. It was mentioned, actually, I know Benji was talking about it at one point, to the guy from Traffic, or the guy who is Traffic. He was talking to in regard to Chris, you know, who's busy building an Instagram presence and so forth, and you know, he's got quite a following, and that's really amazing. But what people forget is there are two sides to it. And it has to do with contribution. Because I don't know anybody who's made it in the social media world, made it as in, you know, is actually making a living out of it, or even making good pocket money out of it, who hasn't put in hours, days, months, years of their time to get that far. Their contribution had to be pretty impressive to get to that point. I think that's the thing that people don't realize. You don't do it in a year, or even two. That means you basically have to love doing whatever it is you're doing. You know, you have to love putting on makeup and spending money without getting any back, because that's what it costs. In my case, for example, and I certainly am not even making good pocket money. So just so you know, I'm not. That's not what it is. You know, I love to help people. It's what I love to do. I love to laugh and entertain people to some degree. I love to challenge people. So for me, you know, it's an ideal medium. And so I will continue to do it, whether I get any money out of it or not, because it's what I love to do. And so contribution is about giving of yourself. And in some cases it has a return, and in most cases it never does. But it is about do it anyway and enjoy it anyway. But most people wouldn't dream of doing it, and yet they would dream of sitting in a pub and throwing away their money on booze, or do you know what I mean? Or chasing a golf ball around around a golf course at great cost. So everybody has their own thing that they do, and some people do hobbies and some people do contribution. Because I think for a lot of people, their contribution, their volunteerism, if you like, almost, is their hobby. And it's a mindset of certain people. And they get great joy out of it. And I want to tell you that a lot of the time, it's not very joyful work. It's hard work. It's extremely hard work. But they enjoy it. And so, as this is the Christmas season and the season of giving, rather than receiving, I would like to challenge you all to think about, if you had fun watching the telethon. I say telethon, it wasn't a telethon, was it? It was a vlogathon. A giant live vlogathon. If you had fun being part of that, then you probably would be somebody that would find volunteerism worthwhile. Because a lot of you sat and watched that for the full 24 hours. You gave that much of your time. And so it's worth sort of asking yourself, why? Did you enjoy this, watching people dance? Did you enjoy the conversation? Did you enjoy a little bit of everything? I don't know. Because to me, it is a case of, if you enjoyed it, then you might want to consider making volunteerism part of your life. How do you do that? Well, you just pick up a telephone directory or look up in Google, volunteer organizations in your area. And then find one that suits you. It doesn't really matter what it is. One that, some of you, it's about pets, so you'd probably want to look up the SPCA or whatever the American equivalent is of that. Probably the ASPCA or something. So, if you're into helping seniors, there are so many groups of people trying to help seniors that would benefit from your help. If you are somebody who likes working with children, you're probably going to need to get a criminal record check, hopefully. But again, a lot of organizations that do a lot of things. I'm thinking about things like Girls and Boys Club or the Scouts and Brownies. All those sort of organizations. So because it's the season of giving, have a think about that. In the coming year, maybe the way you're going to lose weight is not by doing that exercise that you're never going to do. Maybe it's about doing something for other people. And then there are some of you going, I don't have time for that. If only you knew how busy I am. And I'd smile and say, yep, I know what you mean. And yet, so many people, I'm going to sneeze, I think. No. So many people make the time. My experience of having worked in volunteer organizations most of my life is that the busiest people you can imagine volunteer their time. It's not the people who are not busy. It's the people who are really busy that volunteer time. Isn't that weird? And if you watch them, they go at a great speed, mentally and physically, regardless of their age. They live life. They don't sit and watch life go by. They actually live life. And they live it in every possible dimension. And they have time for everything because they make time for everything. If any of you have not read the book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, that's what you'll find out is that these people who manage to fit so much into their day, they've got their priorities right. And they do things in a particular order. And because they do that in a particular order, they have time for everything. They not only do that, they do important things first. And they are very focused when they're doing whatever they're doing. You know, they're not trying to do 4 things at the same time. They will spend 1 hour doing something and being totally focused on it. And whether that's sitting at dinner with their children before they go off and start doing their other life, whatever it is. Maybe it's totally focused on giving 1 hour to whatever charity they donate their time to. In other words, they will spend just 1 hour a day, you know, going through emails or doing the next bit of the planning or whatever they need to do. But they have a routine that they work to. They're not trying to fix it all in every day, you know, or fit it all into every day. It's not how they do it. It's very interesting to watch. Anyway, so what I challenge you to do is ask yourself, if I had time to make time to watch Benji and Judy, then I also have time to give to others. And next year we're going to be, for those of the DearMamaSal viewers, we're going to be reminding you of a number of things on a monthly basis if we can. And we can if I remember to do it, which means if I plan to do it and if I work the plan. So one of the things we're going to be doing is to remind you all not to be stressed out for Christmas, and we're going to start that in January. Excuse me. We're going to start that in January and remind you to go out and, for example, look at the sales for things like maybe wrapping paper or ribbon ready for Christmas. We're going to do this month by month. We're going to look at what you're doing for fun, what you're doing for exercise, what you're doing for whatever. And we're going to try and revisit all these things every month so that all of us understand that this is all about choices. Talking about choices, the Battle of the Bulges, I am not proud of the fact that I have not lost a whole stack of weight. But I am proud of the fact that so far I have not put on a whole stack of weight. In other words, I haven't lost, but I haven't put on, I think I've probably put on a couple of pounds, which, considering what I've been exposed to, both at work and at home, when considering what I've been exposed to, that's pretty darn good. Normally, I put on 7 pounds at Christmas. So I am very proud that I've only put on sort of, I think it's only a couple, if that. So I'm doing something better. And of that I'm going to be proud. So for all of you, have a great day, whenever you're listening to this. I I hope you have a happy day. I hope you remember to be amused by small things. I hope you remember to make the right choices and be happy. Our car park is remarkably empty this morning. I guess a lot of people have taken these 2 days off. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure. Bye-bye for now.